everybody. I might need to readjust the camera a little bit. Kit Kat, literally, what is your problem? It's been like 2 days. Be nice. Okay. So today we are gonna make biscuits and gravy. Also, good morning. I don't know what time it is where you are. It's about 8 o'clock here, and I've been awake for like 20 minutes. And I have not had any coffee yet. Is this the right button? Here we go. Got it. Okay, so like I said, today we're making biscuits and gravy. So I have a recipe for homemade biscuits because I'm extra and I want to make them myself. The recipe that I got is from Bon Appetit, which, like, after everything happened with them this year, I don't really follow their videos anymore, but their recipes are still really good. So sometimes I still go to their website if I'm looking for a specific thing. So start the biscuits. I'm going to turn the oven on to 425. And let that heat up. And then the recipe wants me to use a food processor to pulse together all of the dry ingredients and the butter, but I'm not going to do that because that's too much work. And my food processor is too small. So instead, I'm just going to put everything in a bowl and use a pastry blender. Actually, the first thing I'm going to do is pour myself some coffee because I haven't had any yet. I am a heathen who uses International Delight coffee creamer. It's delicious. I don't care. Alright. So I'm going to have this over here because I need coffee. Oh, good morning! Yeah, one of my friends got me that. It's mostly for my husband. Alright, so we need 3.5 cups of all-purpose flour. You didn't have to get up early just to watch me stream. 1, 2, 3 and a half. Let me angle the camera down so you can see what I'm doing. And I need 1/4 of a teaspoon of baking soda. I don't have 1/4 of a teaspoon, so I'm just gonna use 1/2 of a teaspoon because that's how fractions work. There we go. I hope you got some sleep. I know it's like butts o'clock in the morning where you are, Dyla. Also, welcome to my other viewers. We're making biscuits and gravy, and I haven't had any coffee yet. We'll see how this goes. And it's another 2.5 teaspoons of baking powder. I should do some research and find out what the difference is between baking powder and baking soda and why sometimes you want both of them in a recipe. Because that'd be interesting to know. Okay, and then we need 2 teaspoons of sugar. Welcome, viewers. We're making biscuits and gravy. And then we need another 2 teaspoons of kosher salt. I'm gonna grab a whisk to whisk this all together. Alright. So now all the dry stuff is nice and incorporated. And before the stream started, I did just a little bit of prep for making these. Because biscuits are a lot like pie crust in that you want most of the ingredients to be really cold as you're putting it all together. So I chopped up my butter into little bits, and then put it back in the fridge. That way it would still be pretty cold. And the reason that you want it like this is because same thing with pie crust, though fair warning, I am not yet good at pie crust. The reason that you want it to be cold and in little pieces is because you want there to still be little pieces of butter in this when you stick it in the oven, because the butter will melt and it will release some steam, and the steam will then force your baked good to puff up a little bit, and that's why it's nice and flaky and delicious and awesome. I still haven't figured out pie crust all the way, but I understand the concept with the butter, but I'm not good at making sure there's the right amount of water in it, because with pie crust, you want to have literally just enough water to hold everything together, but I haven't figured out how to give it the right amount of water so that it holds together, but then stays together. Anyway, so I'm not using a food processor for this. To get this mixer, we're using a pastry blender. And you just push that in and twist it. Works like this. And then eventually you do this enough and it gets all of those little butter chunks that I put in there into little bits that is incorporated into the flour, but is still separate from the flour, if that makes sense. So how's everybody else doing this morning? If you're someone who is able to talk in the chat. It took me a little while to fall asleep last night, much to my frustration, since I knew I had to wake up early for the stream. Though if this goes well, I might make the breakfast stream like a monthly thing. Mostly I'm doing this because one of my dear friends who lives back in Washington, works the night shift, and so they don't get to see my other streams. So I thought doing a baking or doing a breakfast stream would be nice, because it's 6 o'clock in the morning where they are, and so they'll be able to hang out while I do stuff. There they are. Hi, Mochi. Mochi is the one who I'm doing this for, because I love them. I guess next time you come visit me, I'll have to make you some biscuits. Or maybe when I come visit you. We'll see how long this plague lasts. Let's see. Butter pieces are still a little bit too big, so I've got to keep at this. Once it, well, the recipe wants them to be the size of peas. I'm going to go with this just a little bit longer. It would have been much easier to just get like a tube of biscuits and throw those in the oven, but then this wouldn't have been a very long stream, and also I am extra and also a baker. Okay, that's looking pretty good. Eh. Yeah, okay. So, there are little globs of cold butter in there mixing with the flour. Um, that is probably about how they want it to be. So, now I need to rinse this flour off my hands and then get some buttermilk. Man, my nails aren't very long, but I still am getting flour under them, and it's a little bit obnoxious. Um, Liquid measuring cup. Buttermilk. Fork. Okay. You're supposed to mix this. I'll give it a quick shake. All right. And that's 1 cup of buttermilk. Yep, 1 cup chilled buttermilk. All right. So it wants me to drizzle this over the top while I toss with a fork to combine everything. So I had to take one of my cats to the vet on Thursday because he's been barfing a lot and I'm concerned about, whether or not he's okay. And so I took him to the vet on Thursday. And my other cat, who stayed home, has spent the last several days hissing at him whenever she sees him because I guess he must still smell different or something. And it's just like, this happened the last time I took them to the vet separately as well. And I don't remember how long it took them to understand that they're still the same cats. Because he wants to hang out with her. He's like, Sister, why? And Kit Kat's just like, no, who are you? But the most ridiculous thing is when I woke up this morning, Kit Kat was sleeping in my bed, and Peanut hopped over and literally walked practically on her to get to me, and she didn't do anything about it. She was like, oh, this is fine. And now that we're all awake, she's like, no, fuck you. All right, so this looks like kind of a shaggy dough. And now I'm going to knead it a little bit while it's in the bowl to help just kind of combine it together a little bit more so it's a little bit more cohesive. I almost want to put a little bit more flour, not flour, a little bit more buttermilk in this because parts of it are still a little bit too dry. Yeah, I think there's just a little bit. It's a little bit too much dry flour around the edges. Okay. All right, that should be good. Yeah, he do smell like the doctor. The good news is that he is most likely totally fine. Whatever is causing all of the barf is probably just like his stomach being upset at his food. Like, you know, sometimes as humans we can suddenly develop a food allergy. So it's kind of like that. He probably just developed a food allergy and now is sad. Alright, so now, do I need to flour the surface? I should probably flour the surface. Guess not. Alright. So we're going to dump this out and knead it a little bit more. See, I run into this problem with pie crust too, where like I've used the correct amount of water or liquid and it still just doesn't want to come together. But I also know that if I knead it too much to try to incorporate everything, it's going to make it really tough. I don't understand. I guess that's looking better. Okay. So what cutting it in half like that and then flipping it over does is what cutting it in half and flipping it over does is make the like flaky layers that you find in biscuits. Um, Other than the really unfortunate like edges that keep falling apart, I think maybe this is going okay. I'm gonna do that one more time. And see, you can actually kind of see the layers over here. Maybe this is going okay. Alright. Now I just gotta squish this down. thin does it want this to be? It wants it to be 1 inch thick, which is about where I'm at. Okay. Excellent. Baking sheet, silicone mat. This should get okay. Yeah, that's good. We are gonna have square biscuits because if you re-roll the scraps and then roll them back out into biscuits, then they'll be really tough, because the more you work with flour, the more you work with a flour dough, the more it builds up gluten, and that's what makes things chewy. That's why you need bread the way that you do, because you want it to develop that gluten, which is what makes it so chewy and satisfying to eat. But with like cookies and biscuits, you want it to be more tender, so you don't want to knead it as much. Okay. I don't have quite enough room on this sheet for all of these, which is fine. And instead of going straight into the oven, these are gonna hang out in the fridge for a little bit, just so that the butter in them can harden up a little bit again. Excellent. Hello. Yeah, biscuit layers. Okay, this recipe wants me to put them in the freezer, but I don't have room in the freezer, so they're gonna be in the fridge for, I'll say 15 minutes. It wants it to be in the freezer for 10 minutes, but there's not enough room in the freezer. So I'll put them in the fridge for 15 minutes and call it good. If you are someone who likes to bake, I 100% suggest getting a bench scraper, because that's what I was using to like work with that dough a little bit more. But it's also really good for like when you're making cookies that gets a lot of junk on the counter. You can just fucking scrape that shit up, and it's way easier than trying to get like a paper towel to cooperate with you to scoop up all the flour. I'm gonna wash my hands really quick. cool. Uh, okay, so these need to bake for 20 to 25 minutes. Um, but I'm not putting them in the oven for a little bit just yet. Hello, Peanut. Peanut just walked by. How are you feeling this morning, Mochi? Oh, I'm glad your migraine's finally gone. You've had that like all fucking week. Peanut. Peanut. I've captured a boy. Mom? He's very patient and he lets me pick him up like that, but he doesn't like it, so he wiggles a little bit for once we're part way into it. Usually I'll pick him up like that and kiss his tum and then toss him. Yeah, my other cat, Kit Kat, she doesn't like me to pick her up at all. Um, Stefan Mochi can attest that I had to move her off of a chair yesterday, and she made the most just like protesting little noise as I pushed her off the chair. Um, but yeah, Peanut's a perfect boy. He likes hugs. Um, this is probably bad food safety. It's fine. Um, this excellent little boy. Uh, though it's funny, I took him to the vet because he's been barfing a lot, and I don't think he's barfed since I took him to the vet. What you doing, bud? What you doing? You are not jumping on the counter. That's not what's happening right now. All right, down you go. I mean, hopefully. I still need to do some research. The vet gave me some information about like what could be going on with him since like they did some blood work and nothing came back bad. Uh so he they gave me some information about like finding basically the right kind of fancy cat food for him because right now I'm feeding both of them Purina 1, which isn't like a bad brand of cat food. It's not like I'm feeding them like Meow Mix or something, which is basically just cat junk food. Um, but I could still be finding something better for them. And if it is like a food intolerance that he's developed, then you can like start feeding him kind of like cat food that is made with kind of stranger proteins, like other than a lot of cat foods are made with various kinds like chicken or beef or like fish, but you can find cat foods that are made with like more exotic fish, more exotic birds. The vet I was talking to was saying that she has seen cat food made with like gator meat. So you can find all kinds of cat food made with different kinds of proteins. And she suggested starting with a weirder kind of protein, like the gator, for instance, to see how that settles with him. Uh, so I'm just gonna have to do some research and see what happens. Um, but he's doing pretty good. I wish that Kit Kat would stop like hissing at him because I'm sure it makes him sad. Um, Not as sad as the. I mean, it's meat, so, and it's not like giving the cats like a bowl of raw gator meat. It's more like the people who make the cat food have processed the gator meat into being like regular ass cat food, like crunchy cat food. Um, but yeah. But Peanut has not been acting weird, so he might be fine. There's a good chance I was just being an overprotective mom, which is better than being a neglectful mom. Um, let's see, what else do I have to do today? Yesterday I made some sourdough. So sourdough is basically like, I don't want to say it's a full 2 day process because the first day it does take basically all day to kind of coax this dough to coming together. But then the next day all you have to do is bake it. And that doesn't take very long. So I have to bake the sourdough today. Um, and I'm gonna text one of my friends and see if she wants one of the loaves because my recipe makes 2 loaves. Um, she wanted me to do an experiment where she was telling me about how she was at like a fancy dinner party one time and there was like little chunks of sourdough that also had like dark chocolate in it that you could dip in like a fancy balsamic vinegar. So she wanted me to experiment and make like a chocolate chip sourdough. And I was like, yeah, I can do that. But then I realized afterward that if I was gonna do that, I would have to do a whole batch of chocolate chip sourdough, and I didn't want chocolate chip sourdough. I wanted regular sourdough. So I'll have to text her and see if she still wants one of the loaves. Yeah, I do want to try it because I feel like the sweetness of like even if you're using dark chocolate, the sweet tartness of it, I feel like would probably go really well with the tang of the sourdough. So like it would almost definitely be super good. But like I just didn't really want to make it. And I didn't really do any research on it because like maybe there's a different ratio of stuff you want to put in it. Like I just didn't do it. Um, but it's on my to-do list. I'm also someone is interested in basically buying bread for me on the regular, and she was wondering if I knew how to make rye bread, and I was like, no, but I can learn because I learned how to make sourdough this year during quarantine, so I can learn how to make other breads too. Um, so I need to learn how to make rye bread, and I would really like to learn how to make real like Jewish challah bread because it's really pretty and really tasty. Uh, and my husband is tangentially Jewish, so um, yeah. But before I deep dive into bread, I really need to figure out my holiday baking because I'm gonna need to mail out Christmas presents as soon as possible. So I am a little bit warm. I'm gonna go check the temperature on the house really quick. The temperature is still what I set it to, but since I'm still a little bit warm, I'm gonna be right back and change into a tank top out of this t-shirt. Um, Unfortunately, I don't have anything cool to show you while I am off screen, but you can enjoy this corner of my kitchen for a minute. All better. Um, I do really love this kitchen. Um, Tim likes to joke that we bought a kitchen that came with a house because when we were house hunting, this house was still being built. And the realtor we were working with basically gave me like, he gave us a folder that was basically a dossier on all of the different houses he was going to take us to that day. And as I was like, the first like 3 or 4 houses he took us to, I was pretty unimpressed by. Um, and then I was flipping through the thing, and I got to the description of this house, and listed on the description it said gourmet kitchen, and I was like, "What's up with this house? What's in this gourmet kitchen?" Um, and so we came to look at it, and they were still like everything was still being built. Um, like the house walls were up and everything, but they were still working on it, and like all that was in this kitchen was basically like the skeleton for the counters, and but they talked to us about where everything was going to be at. Um, so yeah, we bought this house mostly because I really liked the kitchen, but we also liked everything else about it, and we found it on the first day that we were house hunting. Now that we've lived here for a little bit over a year, we both kind of get the idea that maybe they took advantage of us a little bit, because there's definitely some weird shit about this house that like my friends who are adultier adults don't think should be in a really new house. But it is what it is. It's my problem now. At least I like the kitchen. Um, the timer's about to go off to put the biscuits in the oven. I'm gonna melt some butter really quick so that I can brush it over the top. Um, I want to reorganize this kitchen at some point. I do need to kind of Marie Kondo it up in here, because I have a lot of counter space, but it's also really cluttered. Really, I need to figure that out for like the entire house. So much of my house is just, I love this house, but it is also really cluttered a lot of the time. And it doesn't help that like, I love my husband very much, but like, things need a place to live. You can't just put everything in a box, and then, because then you're gonna lose that box. And then when you need something, it's gonna be buried in the box and you don't know where it is. I love my husband very much. Sometimes he's not good at being an adult, but neither am I, so. He is a robot learning how to be human, and it be like that sometimes. I'm gonna let that go for just a little bit longer. Here are my chilled biscuits. We are only gonna put them in the oven 1 tray at a time. Because it's important. Putting 1 tray in the oven at a time is important for making sure that everything is getting cooked evenly. I'm gonna brush these down with some butter and then drop them in the oven. So one thing I'm excited about today is the paleontology podcast I listen to is going to be doing like a live chat, a live stream Q&A thing this evening. Because they are celebrating the release of their 100th episode, and so they're just, they're really excited about it, and they're using the time to like connect with their fans a little bit more and stuff like that, which I'm really excited about. Because I am definitely gonna log on and see if I can chat with them a little bit, because listening to that podcast all year is what's really inspired me to try to go back to school. So hopefully I can get some advice from them on how going to school for paleontology actually works. And I also want to tell them that I made an all fossil Pokemon team. So these are gonna go. Let's see. The oven is set to 425. The recipe said that when you put them in the oven, you want to turn it down to just straight 400. And then you want to cook them for 20 to 25 minutes. I'm going to set it for 20 and see how it goes. Excellent. Excuse me. Yeah, I mean, definitely not super hard, and especially since they don't want you to like knead them very much, it wouldn't be too hard on your joints. Excuse me. Alright, so now that the biscuits are in the oven, I can start on the gravy. And for that, I've got my tried and true Dutch oven. Let me readjust the camera a skosh. There we go. Turn that on to medium. And I'm going to put just a little bit of oil in the bottom of this to make sure that the sausage doesn't like 100% stick to it and make me sad. I am using turkey sausage just to try to make this a little bit healthier. I am a northerner living in the South, so it's not like this was going to be really traditional anyway. All right. And I have this great slotted spoon, this great wooden spoon that's flat on one edge, which is going to be great for breaking up the sausage pieces. Let me know if you want me to readjust the camera so you can see what I'm doing a little bit better. I'll basically have to move my whole apparatus to somewhere different, but I can definitely do that if you want me to. Okay. It's starting to sizzle a little bit. So while this is cooking, I'm gonna move my camera a little bit, so it's easier for you guys to see what's going on. As a result, you're gonna get a little bit of a tour of my kitchen because my camera apparatus is a little bit ridiculous. Eep, sorry. Hello. I hope you liked that tour through my kitchen. Alright. So I turned up the heat a little bit so that hopefully some of this sausage will get some nice, like, crunchy char on it. And now I just kind of gotta wait for it to cook, and then we can finish up this gravy. Yeah, I do like my kitchen a lot. I just need to straighten it up more. Like, I always keep it clean, but it's also kind of cluttered. But there's also so much storage space. This cabinet here in the corner is great because it opens like this, and then it's like a giant Lazy Susan in there, so you can actually get to everything. It's super great. Sausage is coming along. I'm gonna not move it for a little bit. That way it has a chance to build up some stuff on the bottom. This turkey sausage is also releasing more liquid than I expected it to, which is a little bit weird, but that's fine. Oh, what else am I doing today? I have that bread to bake at least. I have that paleontology live stream this evening. I need to read through the paperwork the vets gave me about the cat food. I'm also kind of working on writing basically an essay about Hanukkah, because on browning meat is good. I'm working on an essay about Hanukkah because on the first night of Hanukkah, I am planning on doing a, non-Jewish person's guide to Hanukkah while I make some latkes. And the Jewish person that I was talking to like really make sure that this would be an okay thing to do rather than being appropriative, said that it would be fine as long as I made sure I got the history correct. So I'm just basically writing an essay about Hanukkah so that I can send it to them and be like, hey, is all of this correct? And then I can make some latkes this week, and it's going to be great. So I need to work on that essay so that I can actually send it to them and make sure that I'm doing everything right. And then probably once I get all that done, I downloaded Hades yesterday onto my Switch, and like, my husband really likes that style of like roguelike dungeon crawly kind of game, but it's never really been my thing because I am easily frustrated by dying, and that's really the whole point of games like that. But Hades is great because like dying doesn't feel bad, and every time you die and have to go back to home base, you get to have a conversation with some characters. And I was having a tough time with the first boss, and every time a god gave me a boon to help me out, they were like, hey, you're having a tough time, but just keep at it. And they were really encouraging, and it was just really cute. Rather than like shitty loading tip screen or loading screen tips. Okay. This sure does look like some sausage. I'm gonna let it cook a little bit longer and see how much of this liquid I can like cook off of the bottom of the pot before I start adding other stuff. Yeah, yesterday when I was playing, so I have my, streaming schedule up on Twitch. And Friday I have it blocked out as Fallout Friday. But yesterday I was playing Hades for a good like 2 hours. And I was like, man, I kind of just want to keep playing this game. And I almost would have if my Switch hadn't needed to charge. Because I use it in handheld mode most of the time now. But I can play it today. And it's going to be great. Alright. So, now we can start building the rest of this gravy. And for that, we need milk and flour. So what you want to do is sprinkle flour into your sausage and fat mixture. And you are just going to mix all of it in until your sausage is well coated in flour and it's all absorbed. And it cooks off any of that like raw flour smell. Like you don't want it to burn, but you still want it to not taste like raw flour. And I'm going to turn down the heat a little bit. That way when I start pouring the milk in here, the milk doesn't scald and ruin everything. Since I don't have any more sausage. Okay. And I think the recipe that I saw for doing this was like 3 or 4 cups of flour, 3 or 4 cups of milk. But I'm just gonna like pour this in until I have the right amount of liquid in this pot. A little bit more. All right. That looks like a good liquid to sausage ratio. And now we basically just stir this until the flour that I, tossed in there to soak up all the fat, that will like meld with the milk and thicken everything up. Which can take like 10 to 15 minutes, so I'll probably be stirring here for a little bit. I did add the flour. You missed that part. I promise it's in there. I put in about half a cup and then stirred it around so that everything would soak in. But yeah, we're just gonna stir this for a while until it starts to thicken up. I used turkey sausage to just try to make it a little bit healthier. So I'll probably have to add some like salt and pepper, and well, I would add salt anyway, but I'll probably have to add some pepper and stuff to like add a little bit more flavor since turkey sausage sacrifices some flavor for some health. Um, but yeah, now we just get to stir. Um, Welcome to the stream, Phenom. Thanks for hanging out. Uh, I might play some Pokemon today. I have my all fossil team, but I still need to level it up. And like, I joined a group on Facebook for like Sword and Shield trading and stuff like that. And someone made a post about wanting to start up another Pokemon League. And because I have an all fossil team, I would kind of be a good ringer for the rock type gym leader. But I am in no way confident in my actual like competitive Pokemon battling abilities. So I should practice at that and make sure that my team has all the moves that it needs and stuff. Uh, my, let's see. My Cradilly has been really helpful in the like battle tree battles I've been doing. Um, my Archeops has been less helpful, but I think that just means I need to get better at the kind of hit and run tactics that I'll have to do with that Pokemon. Um, and I need to figure out what everyone's items are going to be. But I've been putting so much work into that team. I'm also kind of excited about taking a break and just playing Hades for a while. Um, I did actually do all of the breeding for my fossil team. Um, it was really the first time that I actually paid attention to that kind of thing. Like sometimes I'll breed Pokemon just so that they have the right nature, but I've never bred Pokemon so that they have the right nature, egg breeding, and also like not perfect stats, but like at least pretty good IVs. But some of them I couldn't get quite the way I wanted to because I don't have the patience to breed Pokemon until I get somebody with perfect IVs because that takes goddamn forever. Um, so I was going to try to get at least a couple of them to level 100. That way I could hyper train them and get some of them to have like perfect stats in the, or you know, a perfect, at least one or two perfect stats in the stats I need them to be in if I didn't quite get it there through breeding. Um, oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, I was using Twitch Mobile to watch a Polygon stream yesterday, and it didn't really let me do a lot of chatting. Um, but that's okay. There were too many people watching it for me to actually, like, you know, get any words in that anyone would really see. So this isn't really thickening up yet, but that's okay because like I said, it can take like 10 or 15 minutes for this to like really start happening. Um, I think there's a little bit of steam coming off the top of the milk, uh, which is a good sign. Um, but we just have to treat it with patience and care until it starts coming up. There's also 1 more minute left on the oven for the biscuits, so I'll have to check on those and see if they need any more time. But everything should be super good. I've also got another tray of biscuits left in the fridge that I didn't quite have room for on my pan. Jessica, my friend, is going to be so excited when I text her later because I'm going to have both a loaf of sourdough for her and extra gravy because I do not need all of these biscuits and gravy for just me. One time, I was talking to my roommate about cooking. She's no longer living here, which is a fucking blessing. But anyway, I was talking to her about cooking once because she was always really impressed with my cooking and, like, loved everything that I made. And I was like, oh, well, I can teach you how to do some of these things. And she's like, oh, no, I don't want to. All right, those need a couple more minutes, but they do look beautiful. And the reason that she didn't really want to learn how to cook as well as I do is because, like, she was lazy and didn't really understand, like, in her words, it was putting in all of the effort to make something and then, like, all you get to do is eat it. And I'm just like, what? Because that's the whole point. Like, you get to use your hands and your brain to make something delicious that your body then gets to use. It's like I get frustrated when my husband insists that my kitchen stuff is magic, but, like, it almost is a kind of magic, you know? But when I'm at home cooking just for me because my husband is deployed, I do kind of understand where she was coming from. And since she spent most of her life, or most of her adult life, just living alone, I can kind of see why she had that thought process. But it's still just so weird. She and I were such incredibly different people. And I'm so glad that she does not live here anymore. Yeah, she was an interesting one. I wouldn't have invited her to live with me if, like, she was a teacher and she spent a large portion of her paycheck sending money to her dad in the UK because he told her that he needed it for, like, paying for his living expenses and stuff. Yeah, right? It's just she was a weird one. And, like, I would definitely think of her as a friend, but also a friend that I'm never going to live with again. And once she moves back to the US, because as much as she's really had a terrible year. A lot of people have had a terrible year. I feel like she's had a, like, just really, it's just been fucking awful. But anyway, she's moving back to the US from the UK here in a few weeks, probably. And she's not gonna live with me. And she's gonna have a lot of trauma to recover from. And it's gonna be a whole thing. Actually, I need to talk to my friend Ashley, because I am unsure whether or not Reagan, the roommate, has a ride from the airport back to wherever she needs to get to when she flies home. almost done. I'm pretty sure this is thickening up a little bit, which is good because it's definitely been in here for a little bit more than 10 minutes. But like I said, it can take up to like 15 minutes or so to get this really going. But we just got to keep stirring and keep being patient. Oh, but anyway, I need to message Ashley. Because I don't want to, like, I was talking to my therapist about this. If I ask Reagan directly whether or not she's gotten everything taken care of for her, like, arrival to the airport and then getting back to where she needs to go. Yeah, it's definitely thickening up. It's just not quite as thick as it needs to be yet. It just takes some time. Ah. There we go. But yeah, if I talk to Reagan directly about whether or not she has everything taken care of, and she doesn't have everything taken care of, that's an opening for her to ask me to come pick her up. She's flying into Atlanta, and that's a goddamn 5-hour drive. And I also don't want to be stuck in the car with her and her dog for 5 hours because she is going to cry, and it's gonna be a whole thing. But I can talk to Ashley about it and see if Ashley might be available to help go pick her up. I have to pull the biscuits out. Those are some biscuits. Biscuits. And then if Ashley is available for going to pick her up, then, like, or at least she might have the capability of making it that way, then I can talk to Reagan, and if she still needs a ride, then I can be like, okay, I thought that might be the case, so I talked to Ashley about it, and she and I will be able to come get you. And Ashley has a better car for road trips anyway. And then the both of us can carry the emotional baggage that will come with driving around for Reagan with Reagan for 5 hours. Oh yeah, this is definitely thickening up. I'm so excited. I can't make biscuits and gravy while my husband is home because it's definitely not kosher. Even when I am using turkey sausage instead of pork sausage. I'm gonna put that other tray of biscuits in the oven once this is done, since that other tray of biscuits is plenty for me, but I still need to bake both of them. So hey, Stefan, what's some other kind of breakfast food I could make on stream? Is there anything you're interested in learning how to make that you're not sure you would have the spoons to learn how to do yourself? Because I could do like one baking stream a month, or like, twice a month, something like that. Baking stream, breakfast stream. Or Tyler, you can also like answer if there's any breakfast foods you want to learn how to make. I mean, you know where to find me if you think of anything. Let's see. It might be fun to, maybe I could make omelets on stream. Um, like American style omelets. French style omelets are like, I like a really gooey yolk in my fried eggs, but if I'm making scrambled eggs, I do not want it to be like creamy and gooey. Um, but American style omelets are actually uh, one of the first things I remember learning how to cook myself. Um, so I could do something with that. Uh, there's an Italian dish. I'm pretty actually a lot of places have a lot of different cultures have a style of dish that is commonly referred to as eggs in purgatory, which is basically when you make a tomato sauce and then once it's almost done, you make some little wells in it and crack a couple of eggs into it, and then you let the eggs cook in the tomato sauce. Which I've never tried the eggs in purgatory before, but plenty of cooks that I follow online have done videos about them or about the recipe. So that might be fun to try. Um, there's nothing stopping me from just making pancakes if I want to. Uh, it's hard for me to figure out what to make because when I go out for breakfast, yeah, big mood. Um, but yeah, it's hard for me to figure out what to make for breakfast sometimes because usually when I go out for breakfast, I'm just like, give me those pancakes. Because my husband doesn't really like pancakes because it's just too sweet of a breakfast for him. But like, I fucking love pancakes. Um, but also, when you live alone for 6 months, a year, it's difficult to find a chance to make pancakes for yourself because, it's really difficult to make just enough pancakes for one person. Yeah, Tim just doesn't like sweets as much as I do. He likes really tart things, so one of his favorite things that I make is the triple berry pie because it's just it's definitely sweet, but it also has a lot of tartness to it. Uh, this isn't quite there yet, and I'm getting impatient. I want to eat you. Um, if this fucking Rona hadn't happened, I was gonna try to start having friends over for brunch because while my husband was gone, because that would also give me the chance to make pancakes for people. But now I can't have people over because there's a fucking plague happening. Um, ooh, that's a good idea. It's true. One day there will be no plague. And there is presumably a vaccine on the way, which is exciting. Um, I so I follow a local newspaper on Facebook, which is good because it helps keep me informed, but it's also bad because it means that I see comments from all the ridiculous Southerners who still refuse to believe that Corona is happening. Um, and so there was an article yesterday saying it's true. There was an article yesterday saying that the governor of Florida wasn't gonna require people to get the corona vaccine when it comes out. And one of the first comments was just like, good job, governor, putting Florida first. And I'm just like, what the fuck are you talking about? we can't reach herd immunity until 70% of the population is immunized. Why are you like this? And anyway, that's why I don't leave the house anymore. It's definitely almost there. I'm adding some salt into here. Yeah, it's ridiculous. All right, this is definitely almost there. I'm so excited. Yeah, it's a whole thing. Um, but like I've talked about, that's why I am not working right now, and I just donate plasma for extra money, and I order my groceries online. Like I'm not like I don't have any immune system problems, so even if I did get it, I would probably be fine. But I still just don't want to risk it, and I don't want to risk giving it to somebody else, and it's just, ugh. All right. I've turned the heat down, so hopefully not stirring it for a sec isn't going to scald the milk on the bottom. It is so thick and luscious. I'm so excited about eating this. I need to go grab a spoon so that I can test it. Yep, it coats the back of a spoon real nice. I'm gonna add some more salt to that. And also some more pepper. Is Penny doing beeps? Aww. Oh, am I keeping you up past your bedtime? I'm sorry. Okay. All right. Let me give this one more taste. Excellent. Gravy is complete. These biscuits are so flaky looking. Look at that, and I can just pull them apart. Oh, they look so fucking good. Holy shit. I probably could have waited for this gravy to get a little bit thicker, but this is fine. I'm gonna go ahead and cover this up so the flies that inevitably live in my house don't get into it. Okay, here is my beautiful breakfast with homemade biscuits, homemade gravy, and turkey sausage. Hey, so I've made breakfast. I'm gonna go ahead and eat this. Thank you so much for hanging out while I made this. You guys know where to find me if there's anything that you think would be fun for me to make for breakfast in the future. This was pretty fun, so I'll probably do a breakfast stream like once or twice a month, depending on how things go, and also like Tim's gonna be home in like a month, so I'll have to make sure he's okay with me getting up a little bit early and then streaming for the internet. But yeah, you guys know where to find me. It was super fun to have you here. Let me know if you guys want these recipes or anything like that, and I'm gonna upload this video to YouTube in the future. I love you guys. Bye!